Dennis George. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. What are your thoughts on the allegations leveled against Dan Matjila and what's alleged to be happening at the PIC?
Yes. Look, I've spoken last night to the Minister of Finance about the matter, and I've also this morning had a discussion because the Deputy Minister of Finance is also the chairperson of the board of the PIC. And we have agreed that we are going to meet over the weekend so that we can see, about the things that is said in the media about the allegations. But our members, for instance, believe these allegations are fabricated. It's fabricated to be part of a ploy where the Guptas would come and throw mud at the chief executive officer, and then the board will say, look, let us suspend you on full pay, and then you stay on one side, and then their person would come in and do what they ought to do, and then you find, after some time that CEO, for instance, would be said, look, let's settle the matter out of court, and then you go your way and I go my way. It's exactly the same thing that happened at ESCOM. It's a modus operandi that they deployed very successfully, but unfortunately for the Guptas, we've raised the matter with government. The minister and the deputy minister gave me the undertaking. There's nothing of removing the person, because in our law we have a Latin maxim that say, "Otia adrem patrum." You must listen to both sides of the story, and allegations is only allegations. Allegations is not something that has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt that a person is guilty of something. But this is a kind of a smear campaign, and we also believe from Fiducia side that the PIC could play a very positive role in our country, because we're facing with huge challenges. We need to provide support, but at the same time, if we are going to help state-owned companies, then those state-owned companies must comply with the criteria that NEDLAC said. And NEDLAC said that all companies must have good corporate governance. We must make sure that the leadership, and now I'm specifically referring to SAA. I mean, the chairperson of SAA has now been there for 8 years, and now her term has been extended. I mean, we will not allow the PIC to borrow 1 cent to SAA unless we don't have a new leadership there.
Mm-hmm. You've spoken about the importance of the PIC and also said that you and your members believe that this is just a mudslinging at Dan Matjila. If an entity is managing 2 trillion rand almost in assets of people who are putting their hard-earned money and trusting the PIC, does there not need to be a higher standard, especially when it comes to the leadership, as you've spoken about? And is this where the confusion is coming in, perhaps, from some people who would say, actually, he does need to go. If you're managing almost 2 trillion rand, you can't be alleged to have been giving money to your girlfriend or running the company like it's your piggy bank.
Yes, look, I agree with you that we need to raise the standard higher. We must also look at what can we do to improve corporate governance. One of the things that Fiducia believes should be done is that there should also be worker directors on the board of the PIC, because government has the person in the position of the Deputy Minister of Finance who chairs, and then they have independent directors, and then they have directors that has strong links with business. But we believe there should be worker directors on the board of the PIC so that they can have a direct voice in what's happening, and they can also have an eye to monitor like an eagle if everything is done in a proper and a correct way, and to make sure that there is no untoward matters being dealt with that will undermine good corporate governance.
Okay, the economic freedom fighters have said there's a concerted effort by Treasury to destabilize the PIC. One, what do you think of this? And two, if this is true, what will the consequences be of a destabilized PIC?
Look, a destabilized PIC will cause a lot of instability. They will also lose a lot of credibility in the market. I think what we need to do is this, specifically when we are appointing directors to serve on boards of state-owned companies. You can understand the way that we follow when we appoint judges. We normally interview judges in public, but we don't interview these directors in public that we appoint. It is a minister handpicking people, and then the person is, for instance, deployed on the boards. But we think that those people, like we did with the board of the SABC, people had to be interviewed in public, the media is there, everybody is there. We believe firmly that that process must be opened up Because remember, those are our companies. It belongs to South Africa. And why is there that secrecy around the whole process? And that's the reason why we say we also want to see that we're going to have worker directors on those boards of state-owned companies.
So do you believe that there is an effort to destabilize it, or this is just a political party?
No. Look, the issue is this. The people in National Treasury are professionals. Okay? And the minute when politicians want to start to come and play on these kinds of roles, you're going to destabilize the whole process. I've also got a lot of respect for the Director General of the National Treasury, because we worked with him in the past and we know that they are decent people.
Thank you very much for your time, Dennis George from FEDUSA.